Hello, guys. Good day. This is Anna of Reinforcement Club. Today we are going to talk about ego. The top 8 ego defense mechanism by Sigmund Freud. By the way, Sigmund Freud was an Austrian neurologist and the founder of psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis is a method of analyzing psychic phenomena and treating emotional disorders that involves treatment sessions, during which the patient is encouraged to talk freely about personal experiences and especially early childhood and dreams. Sigmund Freud is best known for his theories about the unconscious mind, the structure of personality, and the mechanisms of psychological defense. He also introduced the concepts of id, ego, and superego. His, uh, his work deeply influenced psychology, psychiatry, and cultural discourse, shaping our understanding of human behavior, personal development, and the role of unconscious processes in our mental health. Freud's ideas continued to spark debate and controversy. However, his contributions to psychology remained the foundational and have a lasting impact on the field. So even though that Sigmund Freud is already dead and gone in 1939, it's already 2024 this time, and we are still using his ideas. So he done a good job for that. Sigmund Freud proposed several ego defense mechanisms to help explain how an individual cope with anxiety and protect themselves from unpleasant emotions. These mechanisms serve to distort reality, reduce anxiety, and maintain an individual's sense of psychological balance in spite of the trauma, in spite of the unpleasant experiences in the past caused by people, caused by, could be external environment. So our brain can work for us. And that is in a way of, this is just one way, ego defense mechanism. Now, we're going to tackle 8 of them today because from Sigmund Freud, several psychologists have come up with other defense mechanism, even gaslighting, which seem to be kind of famous word this time. But we're just going to tackle the basic 8. Well, as far as I can remember, we have a subject before called mental health nursing. So, in some point, we were able to tackle patients with mental health problems. So, we have a case study with patients who are drug addicts, as well as patients of different sorts of, schizophrenia of different types. So, you can see we were able to realize that what's in the book is exactly the representation of the patients. So, we were exposed in Davao Mental Hospital. Yeah. So we were handling patients, and we were able to really see the different types of schizophrenia with the actual representation, as well as what's going to be the consequences, the other issues that they're dealing, as well as those patients who are drug addicts. So far, it was fun, and we were able to learn a lot from them, other than hanging out with the people and going to different places in Davao. Of course, that was one of the best experience that I ever have as a nursing student. By the way, let's go back to the topic. Yeah, we were able to discuss about this different ego defense mechanism. Matter of fact, is Sigmund Freud's daughter Anna Freud, who is also a psychology expert, was able to come up of her own ego defense mechanisms, plus other different psychology experts. So they come up with more than 10 ego defense mechanism. But we are just going to tackle the top 8 by Sigmund Freud this time. Now, the first ego defense mechanism is repression. Repression involves pushing painful or threatening thoughts, memories, or impulses into the unconscious mind. So these are your hidden desires that you cannot really act out, but you just tell yourself, forget about it. The forget about it method. So one example is that, you have a crush on your teacher, but your teacher is married, having a family of 6 kids. And that's impossible. But you fancied him. You fancy him, but in reality, it's impossible. That's next to impossible. So you just tell yourself, forget about it. And yes, you like him, but you don't act out. You're not acting on your thoughts. You're not seducing your teacher because you believe that the truth is that is impossible, and I am not that kind of person who breaks the family because of my feelings, so I just forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it approach. Another example is, when you have argument with your boyfriend, and then you just simply tell him that, oh, you forget about it. It's not important anyway. It's not important. But you're really, you in your face, it's not important. Forget about it. But you're really angry. You're really upset about the situation. But forget about it. So that's repression. But deep inside, you were really upset. You want to trample the planet Earth because you're upset. He didn't do what you want him to do. But that's unreal to trample the entire Earth, to trample your boyfriend. So just forget about it. But you really, you know, the next time around, I'm gonna kill you. Really. But that's you can't do that in reality. You just put that on your unconscious mind. Unconscious mind will take care of that. That is why, if the same situation comes up again, you are going to recall that same situation that you had before. You had conflict before. You're going to bring that about in the present moment. So because those thoughts and feelings were repressed. So that's the setback. Another ego defense mechanism is the second one, denial. Denial involves refusing to accept the reality of a situation or the existence of a painful aspect of reality. So, denial. For example, you and your boyfriend broke up after 3 years of relationship. 3 years. Gosh. But you're in denial about your feelings because you are a strong woman and you tell your friends, no, I'm fine. Well, I'm okay. But when you got home, you're crying. You're recalling those wonderful memories, those shoulda, woulda, coulda memories, or what could have happened if you were together. But when you're looking at your friends, you tell them you were smiling. You can tell them, "Yeah, I'm gonna date another one in a couple of days." But when you got home, you're crying. That's why me, God, why me? So that's denial. You are presenting yourself as a strong woman who can move on right away in front of your friends. But when you got home, you are broken. Now, another ego defense mechanism is the third one, projection. Projection occurs when individuals attribute their own undesirable thoughts, feelings, or impulses to someone else. By projecting their own unacceptable qualities into others, individuals can avoid acknowledging or dealing them with dealing them in themselves. So the common example of projection is, this happens. Your boss is giving out to you, but you cannot give out to your boss. And then, you know, when you got home, since you know that you can give out to your wife, you give out to your wife instead. You poured out your worst feeling in the office into your wife. So as a result of that, you have a bad day at work, you had a bad day at home as well. Another ego defense mechanism is displacement, number four. Displacement is, redirecting one's unacceptable feelings or impulses from their origin source towards less threatening target. So, displacement means, redirecting one's emotions from the original source to a less threatening target. For example, you broke up with your boyfriend of a 3 years relationship. That's quite challenging. And you are really angry about it. You get upset, you're heartbroken. So you cut your hair. You have a long hair. You want to have a long hair for you're having that long hair for 2 years already, and you cut your hair. That is displacement. And then you drink, you party every night. Displacement. Instead of confronting your feelings, confronting the actual person that you get upset about your boyfriend, instead of confronting the truth to accept it, you displace it to other things. It could be healthy things. So you broke up with your boyfriend, you got hurt, your heart broken, so you joined the gym. From now on, I'm going to work out as hard as I can. So I forget about the fact that I am heartbroken, that I am alone again. And displacement, when you got into the gym, you work out so hard to the point that you have a wonderful six pack abs and you have a little bit of biceps here because you're heartbroken. That's another way of displacement. Or let's just say you get upset, really upset about your boyfriend. You got an argument, a conflict. But instead of really slapping your boyfriend, you throw a glass on the wall. That's another way of displacement. Number five is sublimation. So, sublimation involves channeling unacceptable impulses or desires into socially acceptable activities or behaviors. So, rather than expressing these impulses directly to the individuals, some people redirect their feelings, their desires to productive or creative outlets like arts, sports, or intellectual pursuits. So the same is true with what happens to best athletes in the world, like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. So they are angry people. They have loads of dark energy and they cannot stand seeing themselves losing. So they practice majority of the time in the day for years and years. So they end up champions. So Michael Jordan got 6 rings. I forget about how many rings that Kobe have. It could be 4 rings, but he wasn't able to make it to 6 rings or 7 rings because he passed away. But he was able to do what he wants in life, and one of it is to inspire people around the world. So another example is that when you are angry with someone, instead of punching that someone on his face, you instead enroll yourself in a karate class. You know, and then when you're in the class, since you're really angry about that person, you just wear your punching gloves and then punch the punching bag and then kick on the air. There you go. So that's something acceptable rather than literally punching the person on his face. Another ego defense mechanism is number 6, rationalization. Rationalization entails creating a logical explanations or justifications to make unacceptable thoughts, feelings, or behaviors seem to be socially acceptable or personally tolerable. So in this case, yeah, in some point you're gonna be a solicitor. I mean, it could be a barrister for your own self. So, example, when you didn't do your work and your homework, and your teacher is looking for your homework, you have all the reasons in the entire world why you didn't do your homework, other than accept yourself. Because of your mom, because of your brother, because of your dog, because of other stuff other than yourself, hoping that you can be forgiven in that situation by your teacher. Rationalizing actions, beliefs, to so that an individual can still maintain the sense of self-esteem and reduce the anxiety from that situation. So you have all the reason in the world to say that why you didn't do such thing, why you did such bad thing. Rationalization. You make up reasons why it's okay to feel better about failing. So another example is, in your heart that you study a couple of days before the exam, but you still failed in the exam. So instead of, yeah, you were upset about it, and then you tell your sister, your teacher, "Ma'am, the exam is really hard." Yeah, and then, or you could rationalize to your to your teacher, "Ma'am, I didn't really study hard, so can you give me another chance? I don't want to fail." You try to convince to sell yourself to your teacher to let you pass. Rationalization in a good way. And another ego defense mechanism is regression. Regression involves reverting to an earlier stage of psychological development in response to stressful situation. So when you're feeling upset, you might start acting like a baby, wanting to be held and comforted. It's like going back to being a little kid when things were simpler and you felt safer. So one of the best example of this is that, you know did it ever cross your mind that whenever you feel upset and heartbroken and you're lying on the bed in a fetal position like that, and that makes you feel comfortable, like you're inside your mama's womb, and you feel safe, fed, well fed, fetal position. Or sometimes when you have conflict or arguments with your boyfriend and you're acting out like a child, you cry like, I don't want you to do that again. So that's a childish reaction. And lastly, uh, the eighth uh, ego defense mechanism is reaction formation. So reaction formation occurs when individuals express the opposite of their true feelings or desires in an exaggerated manner. I can relate to this. Some people, even though, they like a person, they like someone so bad, but they are so shy to tell them. And by all means of reaction formation, they express the opposite. They are kind of mean to these people that they like. But deep inside, oh my gosh, it's really handsome. She's really beautiful. But I mean, why you didn't do that? Why you didn't do this? But you secretly like the person. You display the opposite. That is reaction formation. It's like pretending you don't like the person when you really do. So you do the opposite. So these are the top 8 defense mechanism of the ego by Sigmund Freud. Matter of fact is there are loads of other defense mechanisms that come up after Freud's studies. It's even more than 20 defense mechanisms. So you can look up to that. So this is just for the sake of FYI, and as well as I'm sharing to you my perspectives and personal experiences too about this matter. So by the way, this is Anne of Reinforce Me Club, and if you like this episode, you can share it to your family and friends. You can subscribe to my channel, click the notification button, and once again, thank you very much for your time. Have a lovely day ahead. Thank you.